Hey guys, this is your host Eric. Today we are going to watch sci-fi genre movie called Edge of Tomorrow. Spoilers ahead, turn on your subtitle. I greatly appreciate your support. Enjoy the video. The film begins with a news anchor summarizing the Earth's alien invasion. Exactly when things appear hopeless, a major battle is won by an allied human army equipped with new mechanical suits. Rita, a special forces soldier, has been hailed as a hero after killing hundreds of aliens known as mimics. Major William Cage of the United States Army is one of the newsroom talking heads promoting Rita and the war effort. Cage awakens on a helicopter ride to London to meet with the Western Allied commander, General Brigham, assuming the general wants Cage to assist him in improving his public image. However, the general orders Cage to accompany the first wave of Allied troops landing in France and provide media coverage on the ground. Cage has no experience in the field and uses the media to blackmail the general. The general appears to relent at first, but then orders Cage to be arrested. Cage awakens in the afternoon on a heap of duffel bags at Heathrow Airport, which has been converted into a military installation. Before another sergeant named Farrell takes over, a sergeant shoves boots into his hands and calls him a maggot. It turns out that General Brigham has given Farrell orders to demote Cage from officer to private. Cage has been assigned to a group of eccentric soldiers known as the J Squad. Ford, Griff, Kimmel, Skinner, and Nance are the men in the group. As Cage is introduced, they are caught gambling by Farrell. Farrell makes the J Squad eat the cards they're playing with before instructing them to prepare the Cage for the mission the next day. The next day is invasion day for them, and Cage is a nervous wreck. He's put in a suit, and J Squad members don't even teach him how to take his gun out of safety mode because they believe he'll die soon. They all pick on Cage in the plane, making him even more nervous. However, just as they are about to land on the French coast, the back of their airship explodes, and the squad is forced to land prematurely, despite the fact that the operation to retake Europe was supposed to be a surprise attack. The mimics were well prepared and ambushed and slaughtered the humans. Sergeant Rita lands on the beach as well, but is killed within minutes. The J Squad's surviving members are all quickly killed. Cage, who is still in shock and on the verge of death, reaches for an ACC claim or mine when a giant blue mimic lunges at him, and with one explosion Cage and the blue mimic die. In the following scene, Cage awakens in a panic on top of the duffel bags. The same sergeant appears, calling him maggot, and Farrell returns him to J Squad. Despite his desperate attempts to explain what is going on and that the mimics will ambush everyone, he wakes up a third time after being killed while attempting to save Rita, but no one believes him. Every time he is deployed and dies, he wakes up on the duffel bags. With each loop, he improves his ability to save the members of the J Squad. Rita, of course, in one loop. He survives long enough to save Rita from the exploding ship that will kill the approaching mimics. Rita realized what had happened and asked Cage to find her when he awoke before they both died. Cage awakens on the duffel bag once more, but this time he begins to work with Sergeant Farrell and the J Squad to buy himself. It's time to find Rita. Cage finally manages to escape after several failed attempts and finds Rita in a training hangar surrounded by training drums. Rita is initially cold, but after he explains everything to her, she whisks him away to a weapon-building bay where an acquaintance named Carter works. Doc Carter specializes in mimic biology. When they arrive, Rita informs him that she, too, was trapped in a time loop at Vernon, which was caused by the blood of the big blue alpha mimic. Carter was a researcher who proposed that all mimics are simply neural manifestations of one over mine. The Omega alien inspired him to create a device that can detect the Omega if it is stamped into an alpha mimic. Cage tries to process everything, but Ara States reminds him that in order to find the Omega first, they must survive the invasion tomorrow. She then proceeds to train Cage kill him a few times when he's injured, so he wakes up on the duffel bags and the cycle begins again. One loop, Cage has been severely injured. Rita advises him to ensure that he dies completely rather than being accidentally revived, because once the looper receives a human blood transfusion, the loop is broken, as Rita herself experienced. Cage suddenly has a mental vision. He discovers that the O-Omega is somewhere in a dam after he dies. Rita and Carter in Germany believe that the visions are caused by Cage becoming an alpha after being infected with the blue. As a result, Cage and Rita concentrate on surviving the invasion. They improve significantly in combat on the beach. But despite this, they both keep dying and the Cage loops over and over, and he grows attracted to Rita. And watching her die over and over again, he gives up, decides to escape from the base, and goes to the bar, where he believes he can escape the loop, but it does not work. The mimics eventually find him and kill him, sending him back in time. Cage and Rita finally make it inland after several failures and deaths. After discovering a helicopter in a farmhouse, Rita realizes Cage is attempting to persuade her to stay and confronts him. Cage admits that they have looped back to the farmhouse several times, but each time Rita dies, so he goes alone to save her from another death. What happens to Rita's cage leaves her speechless when she asks him why it matters. Rita, on the other hand, is well aware that Cage is attracted to her. Cage grows closer to her, but she appears to be only interested in the mission. Rita is taken aback and ends up killing them on purpose in the following loop. Cage decides not to pursue Rita and instead travels alone to the German dam. However, going to the dam does not work as well as he had hoped. He finds nothing because the Omega is not present, and he is ambushed by an Alpha who tries to take away his ability to reset time, but Cage tries himself. Cage, Rita, and Carter assemble the puzzle in the next loop. They do so in order to figure out what the visions are all about. They are fortunate in that some things begin to make sense after being put together. They realize that the victory at Virgin was a ruse devised by the Omega over mind to entice humans to invade Europe, where all human armies would be ambushed and annihilated. Without any other hints, their last chance is the device Carter created in response to his theory, which even got him fired. However, Carter claims that the device is still not fully operational due to a lack of equipment. The good news is that they now know exactly what they need to do. So Rita and Cage shift their focus to obtaining the equipment, which is in general possession. After a long journey and several failed attempts, Cage and Versi infiltrate the Ministry of Defense, where Cage persuades Brigham to give him Carter's prototype device for locating the Onga. They eventually got the device and stabbed it into the Cage's leg. Cage, on the other hand, has finally discovered the true location of the Onga. The monster lives beneath Paris's Louvre Pyramid. As they try to flee the Allied headquarters, their getaway car crashes, and the airbag knocks Rita out before she can kill Cage. Cage awakens in the hospital in the following scene. He realizes he is no longer in the loop. He has lost his ability to loop time indefinitely since receiving a blood transfusion. With no more loops and only a few hours left in the invasion Cage, Rita returns to the base and locates the J Squad. Recruit the J Squad to assist in the destruction of the Omega before the invasion begins. When they arrive at the Louvre, the Mimics attack their airship, and half of the J Squad is killed in the ensuing firefight. Cage, Rita, and the 3 remaining J Squad members decide to slide the airship into the museum using the remaining engine power. The rest of the J Squad gave up their lives to buy time for Cage and Rita to enter the museum. When they arrive, Rita informs Cage that she will distract the patrolling Alpha Mimic while he goes to detonate a grenade belt on the Omega, which is submerged underwater at the bottom of Louvre, before luring away an Alpha, standing between them and the submerged Al Omega. Rita kisses Cage to thank him for bringing her this far. The Alpha captures and kills Rita after a brief chase while Cage diving underwater to find the All Omega. Cage holds it together, pulls out all the grenade pins, and drops the belt into the Olga as the Alpha dives after him and stamps him. The Oli, God, explodes and dies, and the Mimics perish with it. The MGAS blood seeps into Cage as he dies. He awakens in shock on the helicopter ride to London from the morning before the invasion. This time, however, he awakens in an alternate history. In this alternate timeline, he watches the news and learns that the Mimics were all killed in a mysterious explosion in Paris, and that human forces will begin sweeping through Europe the next day. The entire J Squad has been seen alive and well. When Cage arrives at the base, he goes to find Rita, but she does not recognize him and greets him with the same coldness she did the first time they met in a loop. "Yes," she says, "and what do you want?" And Cage gives her a friendly smile. "We really appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell because it is really important for us. Thank you."